I need you to talk to me. What is your son wearing?
He was in jeans and a grayish t-shirt. She's got short brownish hair.
So, jeans, a gray t-shirt, short brown hair.
She ran into the backyard. I tried to follow her. She jumped the fence and ran. She shot.
March 19th, 2024 in Brandon, Mississippi, a day like any other. Or so it seemed at first. Carly Gregg, a 14-year-old high school student at Northwest Rankin High School, was grumpy and unfocused that morning. Her teachers and peers could tell something was off. She wasn't her usual self, and her behavior was unsettling. Carly had been struggling with mental issues for months, and on that day, they seemed to be reaching a breaking point. By 3 p.m., Carly and her mother, Ashley Smiley, a math teacher at the same high school, were heading home. It should have been a typical ride, but tensions between Carly and her mother had been brewing for some time. Ashley had recently discovered Carly's secret drug use, vape pens and marijuana. For a mother who had always tried to keep Carly on the right path, this was devastating. Once home, Carly's world started to unravel. Ashley, concerned about her daughter's drug use, began searching Carly's bedroom again. Carly's anger boiled over, fueled by weeks, if not months, of emotional turmoil. But this time, Carly wasn't just angry. She was desperate, pushed to the edge by the pressure of living under her mother's watchful eye.
What did we know about Ashley Smiley? That she was an incredibly loving mother. Her world revolved around Carly. What Michael just told you was true. Carly was the love of her mother's life. We also know that Carly's mom was overprotective, and understandably so, because she had lost a child.
Her mental health had been deteriorating rapidly, and her feelings of being controlled by her mother left her feeling trapped. Carly stormed into her parents' bedroom. She knew exactly what she was looking for: a .357 Magnum pen hidden under the mattress. She grabbed the hiding it behind her back and returned to her bedroom. Ashley was there, unaware of the fate that was about to befall her. With trembling hands and a racing heart, Carly confronted her mother. The weight of the moment, the anger, the fear, and the mental torment, everything collided. Carly fired 3 times, the sound of the shots echoing through the house. Ashley, the mother who had loved and raised her, laid on the floor.
After Carly's stepfather got off the stand, additional surveillance video was presented pointing toward the kitchen, showing Carly and her mother arriving home and letting their dogs inside the house. Minutes go by and Carly is seen seemingly walking to where they kept the guns in the home and making sure the coast is clear before shooting at her mother 3 times while appearing calm moments after killing her mother.
But Carly wasn't done. The realization of what she had done might have hit her. But instead of falling into shock, she acted with chilling resolve. She took out her phone and dialed a friend, casually asking her to come over. When the friend arrived at the door, Carly greeted her with a question that would haunt anyone. "Are you squeamish around dead bodies?" she asked, almost nonchalantly.
Mother, Carly, invited her friend over, allegedly texting her, "Have you ever seen a dead body?" And when Carly answered the door, she asked the friend, "Are you squeamish around dead bodies?" and then led the friend into her bedroom where her mother was laying dead. Carly then hid the camera that recorded the audio and video of what she had done, and that led to her later being charged with tampering with evidence.
Imagine that for a moment. You've just walked into your friend's home, only to be asked if you're okay with seeing a corpse. Carly then led her friend into the bedroom, where Ashley's body lay, lifeless and bloodied. Carly's friend was in shock. How could a teenage girl, barely 14 years old, commit such a horrifying act and then act so calm, so collected? At this point, Carly's mental state was far from stable, but the events that followed would prove that she wasn't finished. As the moments ticked by, she waited for her stepfather, Heath Smiley, to come home from work. Heath, a man who had cared for Carly as his own, was walking into an ambush. Heath arrived home exhausted from his day, unaware of the nightmare awaiting him. Carly, who had been lying in wait, aimed the gun at him as soon as he stepped through the door. Without hesitation, she pulled the trigger, the bullet hitting Heath in the shoulder. But unlike Ashley, Heath wasn't going down without a fight. Even though he was bleeding, wounded, and in shock, Heath fought back. He managed to overpower Carly and wrestle the gun from her hands. Carly, no longer armed, fled the scene. Heath, bleeding from his shoulder, immediately called for help.
wife's at?
She's dead on the floor in that room.
She where? Sheriff's office!
5:30 p.m., the police arrived at the scene responding to Heath's 911 call. They found Ashley dead and Heath seriously injured, but there was no sign of Carly. Panic spread as police searched the area, fearing the worst. Carly was just 14 years old, a child who had now become a killer on the run. Less than an hour later, Carly was found near the family home, disoriented but not far from where she had committed the crime. She was quickly arrested and taken into custody. The story was breaking across the small community of Brandon. How could this young girl, who had been described by some as sweet and quiet, suddenly turn into a killer? As investigations began piecing together the events of the day, they learned more about Carly's mental health issues. In the months leading up to the murder, Carly had been showing signs of severe depression, hearing voices and even engaging in self-harm. She had been prescribed medications, but the side effects only seemed to worsen her condition. Her mental state was deteriorating, and it was becoming harder for her to distinguish between right and wrong. The discovery of Carly's marijuana use had pushed her over the edge. For a girl who was so desperate for her mother's approval, the revelation was a disaster. Dr. Andrew Clark, a pharmacist who would later testify during the trial, explained that Carly was in crisis mode, unable to handle the situation emotionally or mentally.
I'm Olivia Lieber.
And Olivia, where do you work?
Precise Mind.
Tell us a little bit about what Precise Mind is.
It's an outpatient mental health clinic, and we do research.
Role at Precise.
I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
By the name of Carly Gregg.
Yes.
Do you see her in the courtroom?
I do.
Is she at the defense table?
Yes.
But even with the evidence of Carly's mental health struggles, the prosecution would argue that she knew exactly what she was doing. After all, she had gone straight for the gun, waited for her stepfather, and then fled the scene after the failed ambush. These weren't the actions of a child in the throes of a breakdown. These were deliberate, calculated moves. Later that evening, the family's home was now a crime scene. Yellow police tape marked off the area where Ashley had been killed, and the forensic teams were combing through the house for evidence. News of the murder spread like wildfire through the town, and soon the entire state of Mississippi would hear about the chilling case of Carly Gregg. Meanwhile, Carly was being questioned by detectives. She claimed her memory was blank after the murder, unable to recall the exact moment she shot her mother, but detectives weren't convinced. The cold, almost emotionless way Carly had interacted with her friend after the shooting and her ambush of Heath pointed to someone who knew exactly what she was doing. This day would be remembered as the beginning of a case that would shock the community and raise serious questions about mental health, family dynamics, and the justice system's role in dealing with young offenders. Carly Gregg, just 14 years old, had become a murderer. But the real question everyone was asking was why? Why had she done it? And what would happen next? As we go deeper into this case, we will explore not only the tragedy of Ashley's death, but also the complicated web of emotions, mental health issues, and family tensions that led to this horrific event. Could this have been prevented? And what happens when a child becomes a killer?